There's a lot of things happening in the background. So once I'm completely set up, my lives will change. I'll still do them, and because I really do like engaging with you guys, but it's going to just look slightly different. I'm going to be saving my Q&As specifically for my mentees, my clients, but I'll be still coming live talking about property, helping people, but I won't be answering as many questions as I am now. She was saving for first house, but there's so many other ways to get a deposit for first home. Yeah, absolutely. But Blue Mattress, they don't really know what the other options are. And it's about helping people understand the routes to take. What's your opinion on Hull? I don't really have an opinion on Hull, to be honest. I've only been there once. I went to the Deep, the aquarium, like when I was a kid. That's the only time I've ever gone to Hull. I know there's people. I've got a contact that does HMOs in Hull, and they're very, very profitable. He does like massive ones. He does like 20 plus bedroom HMOs. He's massive. But now it's all Article 4. I don't know what he's currently doing at the moment. It would be very based on the numbers. I would have to look at more numbers to see if it's going to work as an investment property. You need the purchase price, you need what the average rent will be, and then you can work out if it's an investment area or not. Depends, because it's Article 4, you can't do HMO. You can't do certain refurbs because your permitted development rights are restricted in Hull. So can't do extensions or go into the loft under PD. So this limits your ability. You have to work out what strategies work in each area and then focus on the ones that work and cash flow successfully. Is it absolutely true, Blue Mattress? If you're saving from your income, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to save for a deposit. That's why we need to use other means to generate more income, through deal sourcing, through property. Thank you, Addy, for the heart. That's very kind. Welcome back to the live. Hi, Harris. Thank you very much for the likes. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, drop me a follow. I told her to follow you. She didn't in the end. It's just you could lead somebody to water, but it's worth buying buy-to-let with an interest-only mortgage or pay back with less income. That's a judgment call. Khalid, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if it's not. A lot of investors do interest-only payments to keep the cash flow higher. Or payment mortgage is going to be larger repayments, so it's going to impact cash flow, monthly cash flow. So a lot of people do interest-only mortgages. You would never pay down the mortgage anyway, because you're going to be using that equity to build a bigger portfolio. That's the goal. To build from one investment property to 15 investment properties and on onwards. There was an investor here yesterday that I think he'd done about 200 properties or something. I was like, wow, very impressive. That's very kind of you. I think I look really silly with my glasses on, but I can't see because my laptop is in front of me because I'm on YouTube Live. The phone's further away, so I can't see the comments. I have to wear my glasses. Hello. Hi, Tiger. Louise, how you doing? How's everybody doing on this lovely Friday? Has everyone got any fun plans for their weekend? I'm going to be working. I'm going to do this live, and then I'm going to be working on my program. I'm developing my program each day to make it even better for my mentees. So I'm going to be doing a lot of filming. We're doing a lot of development. It's always good to improve it as we go along, tweak it slightly, so my clients have, my mentees have a better experience. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you haven't already, drop me a follow. All I do is talk property, investing, and how to build wealth using property. I've been in property since 2022. I'm an award-winning property developer, and if you are interested in getting into property, you can put your questions in the chat. Hope you're all doing well. I think I hit my finger off the chair yesterday, and I think I broke it. I think I broke my finger. I know it's a really silly problem, but it hurts so bad. Oh, that's incredible, Kieran. Congratulations. I'm glad you managed to sell them the portfolio. Property investors means reducing the stock of first-time buyers. No, not necessarily. We don't buy every house out there. We only buy houses that work for investment purposes. I wouldn't recommend buying off-plan properties. Absolutely not. Off-plan properties are new built properties, and you have to look at them. I know it's a silly comparison, but you got to look at them as a new car. The prices are inflated because they're brand new, and as soon as you move in, they're no longer new, so they will go down in value. It's like a car. Because it's on the forecourt, it's premium. As soon as you drive off, that's it, it's lower. It's worth less. It will start once you've lived there for a few years, it will start to recover. But yeah, never buy off plan, never buy a new build. You can get a better deal when you're buying a property. Oh, thank you, Joe. That's very kind. That's very, very kind. I'm blushing at all the kind words, guys. Genuinely. I don't ever expect them. All right, cool. When I answer a question and I get so engrossed in the question and then I forget, and then I look down and got 50 different messages to get to, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds complicated. I'm on live on TikTok and YouTube, so that's cool. That is the opposite of what we're doing. You don't really understand what investments are. I think you're looking at a lot of misinformation. So if a landlord is buying an investment property, they put tenants in it to pay the rent, and the rent covers the mortgage. So you've just got it a little bit backwards there. What's the advice about buying a second property? Buying an area that's going to cash flow. Make sure you're buying below market value and make sure you're structuring it correctly. Because if you're not structuring it correctly, you're not doing your numbers right, you may run into some problems. If you haven't got the experience, knowledge, then work with somebody that does. Okay, that would be my biggest piece of advice. You would have to ask a lawyer that, Hastan. That's a very complex question in regards to you being on the mortgage and the land reg. I just got evicted with no fault. Okay. That's not normally the way, if there's not, it's unlikely to be the case. And a landlord doesn't normally kick somebody out if there's not been any issues. What you mean didn't get you? Didn't get me what? Give some context, please. I get a lot of questions. You didn't get me what? What didn't you get? If you haven't already, drop me a follow. All I do is talk property and investing. Thank you so much for the follow and the likes. I appreciate that. I'm not going to do a crazy long live today because I've got a lot of recording to do for my mentees. I'm improving the program. About your advice regarding buying your second property. Okay, so Molly, is that how you pronounce it? So when you're buying your second property for investment purposes, we need to make sure that you're structuring the transaction correctly. You're doing it under the right format, so you're buying within a structure that makes it feasible long term. You're making sure you're buying in the right area that's going to work for long-term growth and long-term cash flow, and you're making sure you're buying below market value. A lot of first-time investors don't understand the risks associated with property. So if you're new and you don't have the experience and the skill set, then work with somebody else that does. I find opportunities for clients that are going to cash flow successfully and going to be working for long-term strategy. Oh, planning permission's really tricky. I would say go to a planning coordinator and go to an architect if you're looking to get planning. The more evidence and the more you can back it up with specifics. It's not going to be perfect because plannings can be really complicated. Planning applications. I know somebody that's had been in planning for 2 years. It's a bit of a headache. And when you are in Molly, if you really serious about investing, you really want to get into property and building wealth, I can absolutely help you. Drop me a follow. I've got a deal calculator that I can send to you. Completely free of charge. I don't charge for it. You can have it. Yeah, I try, if I can, stay away from getting planning. I like to do, if I am doing something like that, you can drop me follow, drop me a message, or you can book in my calendar in my Stan store if you want to have a conversation with me. If I'm doing something regards to close to planning, then I would normally do it under permitted development, but I don't like doing full planning. Especially, I wouldn't normally buy listed properties. So anything you do on the outside of a listed property, you have to get full planning. That's just, yeah. I wouldn't do it myself, but I do wish you all the best because planning is a little bit of a headache. I take my hat off to you. You've got patience of a saint. Planning is no fun. Yeah, it's a shame. I don't give mortgage advice. I'm not a mortgage broker. Okay. You have a buy-to-let property, value is 170,000. Is it going to cash flow that figure? I don't know what the rent is. Sandelman. Absolutely put it under a limited company framework. It's going to be more tax efficient long term. The rules are changing. They're not getting tougher, I would say. There's ways to mitigate against it. There's ways to mitigate against all of them. You got the Section 24 tax, you put it under a limited company framework. You've got renters reform, you put in a corporate let, you put in a social housing provider, you put in a registered provider. This is why you work with a property professional that can help you avoid the pitfalls instead of going into property, not knowing where the pitfalls are and then running into problems down the line. I save my clients thousands and thousands of pounds when they work with me. I don't, regards to tax, I go to my tax accountant to deal with tax inquiries and tax situations. I don't deal with tax. I'm a property investor. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm not a tax advisor. I leave those to my incredible team. I'm the expert when it comes to finding opportunities, securing them below market value, and ensuring high cash flowing assets for my clients. And then I've got my broker that deals with the finance. I've got my tax advisor that deals with the tax. Hi guys, welcome. If you haven't already, drop me a follow. Thank you so much for the likes, Ruby. Appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome. All I do is sort property. I've been a property investor since 2022. I build and grow property portfolios for my clients, and I save them thousands of pounds. Thousands and thousands. If you want to get started in property, you don't know how to start, how to scale, how to build, then drop me a follow, drop me a question. I am on YouTube Live and also TikTok. I think I need to do something different to my TikTok Live. Have some background of some sort to say what I do, what the live is about. I don't know if you can put like a green screen on YouTube. Hi CB, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Let me know if you've got any questions related to property and investing, how to build wealth, how to scale, how to build a profitable portfolio. You can either put it in the chat or you can pop up and be a guest. I save them thousands by how I structure the deals. I've saved them thousands by being able to get opportunities you can't find on your own. I've never once done anything on market. I don't go to estate agents. I don't go to auction companies. I do everything direct to the owner of the property. Hi guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Oh, I nearly turned off my live on my YouTube. Trying to refresh the page by accident. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've got any questions, you can put in the chat. Just messaging a couple of my mods to see if they're around. Hi everyone, so great to see some new faces. If you're new to see my channel, welcome. My name's Hannah, I'm a property investor. I've been investing into property since 2022. I build and grow property portfolios for clients and also my own portfolio. If you are interested in getting into property and building wealth and replacing your 9-to-5 income with property investing, you put questions in the chat and I'm going to try and get to as many questions as I can. Trying to do 2 lives at once at the moment. I'm going live on my YouTube and live on TikTok. That is the question, isn't it? John, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. That is the key question, isn't it? I've developed a system over the past 4 years and I've done it. All I do is off market and direct to vendor. Only way I do it. As I find the true deals, the right deals, the deals that are going to be as profitable as possible are not going to be on Rightmove. I don't need to compete against other people as well. So have more security. I have 30k and not sure if it's worth starting off my first rental property or not. Jenny, great question. What is the goal? What are you looking to achieve? Are you looking to build a portfolio? You're looking to retire early? Absolutely start investing, but make sure you invest in the right way. Structure it correctly from day one, making sure you're finding the right opportunity that's going to work for the longevity of your portfolio, and make sure that if you do not have the skill set, work with somebody that can help you and walk you through step by step to show you how it's done and how to structure it and how to build it. Yeah? You've come to the right place. All I do is talk property. What's my thoughts on HMOs? HMOs are complex. When you put them side by side against a buy-to-let, HMOs do cash flow a lot better, but there's a lot more complexity with HMO. And I think a lot of people run into HMO just looking at the numbers, and that can be dangerous. So they don't know what they're doing. They're running into something. They're going to lose money potentially. They're going to have some headaches they're not prepared for. So it's about, like in any strategy, you need to be aware of the challenges. You need to mitigate against the risk and make sure, if you haven't got the skill set, work with somebody that does have the skill set. That's why I do these lives. My goal is to make 10k net. Nice. It will take time, but it depends on what your starting point is. It depends on what your goal is, and it depends on what your risk appetite is, user. Each person's risk appetite is slightly different. It's not as easy as just saying I want to get into property and then that's it. It's no other risk factors. If you haven't already, drop me a follow. All I do is talk property. I've got so much filming to do tonight. It's like I'm going to be working into the night, just filming more for my clients. There we go. We need to have a chat. Absolutely, we do. Do you want me to follow? You can drop me a message, or you can book into my calendar and have a proper one-to-one conversation with me. And we can talk about what your goals are, what you're wanting to achieve, and what your how I can help you get to those goals. Hi, Jody. Thank you so much for the follow. It's lovely to have you here. Lovely you came across my live. If you want to get into property and you're really interested in starting to build a profitable portfolio, reduce your hours of work, retire early, build generational wealth, you've come to the right place, because all I do is talk property. I'm a property developer myself. I've been in property since 2022. Always houses over flats, and absolutely, now is a good time. We can't time the market. We need to have time in a market. One of the sayings my mentor used to bloody tell me a million, trillion times a day. Hey guys, welcome. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This live is all about property and investing. If you want to start building wealth, replace your 9-to-5 income with property, then welcome to the channel. It's lovely to see you. You can either put your questions in the chat, you can pop up and be a guest. Hi, Matthew. Hi, David. I hope you're all doing great. Why flats, Sammy? Flats on long in regards to longevity of an investment might not be the best route, but I understand it is cheaper. I live in the UK. I don't live in a state. States are the UK and US. Hi, Harry. How you doing? Hello. How you doing? It's lovely to see a familiar face. I'm buying my first house. Congratulations. Goal of renovating and making profit. Awesome. What key features that? Are you looking to live in it for a certain amount of time? Or are you looking to flip it straight away? I thought it was help. I didn't think you were saying hell. It was Hel. And it's like help, maybe. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Give me that context, Jodie. That would be great. But congratulations on the purchase of your first property. Are you already in legals? You already purchased it, negotiated and all that? Hopefully you've bought below market value to maximize your returns. Yeah, probably fixed term mortgage for 3.5 years and then move and start over. Nice. Okay. Thank you so much for the likes. Appreciate it. So it's going to be your primary for at least 2 years, potentially up to 5. If you haven't found it yet, I would absolutely make sure you're buying the right property. Make sure you're staying away from properties that have subsidence. Make sure you're buying it below market value because you want to make sure you're going to have built-in equity, even with the refurb, and make sure you've got a good build team. Build teams are hard to find. Okay. Are you sure it's way below? Have you worked out the valuations on the street? Because you can only tell if it's really low if it's like a comparable house on the same street is, let's say, worth 200 and you're buying your property for 150. That would be really low. That would definitely be below market value. Oh, thank you very much for the rose. That's very kind. Most are going for 290 in the last 5 years. I'm asking is 110, 190. Okay. That's considerably below market. It's good. Depends on how much work needs to be done. But yeah, still a bit of profit in there. Even with the refurb, let's say you're going to spend 40 on it, you've still got 60k of equity if your numbers are accurate. But yeah, that's awesome. Well done. A lot of people do the opposite. They like if a property is if property on the street is like 200, they're like, oh, I'll just offer 195. I was like, no, you're not going to do that. You are not doing that. It's very 1970s in the interior. Yeah, I've seen some ugly houses inside in my career so far. The tumble dryer is older than you. That's hilarious. I love that. I find the older the house, the uglier the house, the better the investment. I know it sounds a bit crazy, especially when you're looking at something where you're wanting to add value. You want to look at the ugliest house on a nice street. We don't want a turnkey property if we want to add value. Michael, you're inheriting a property. Should you rent it out? When did the property last have a refurb and update? You might need to do some work to the property if it hasn't had any works done for the last 20 years. But if it is updated, then you could potentially rent it out. You'd have to work out if it's going to cash flow or not. I don't really have any details. Anonymous. It depends on your investment type. It depends on your strategy. Oh, in West Sussex. Oh, nice. I have friends in West Sussex. Also, there are so many houses that turned into flats. Thank you so much for the follow. Just want to make sure I'm keeping up. Buy to let by Refurbished Finance, Yorkshire and the North East. As the returns are, the figures are lower, so there's a little bit less risk involved. When you're in a really high cash flow, a high purchase area, buy Refurbished Finance can be really risky. It needs to cash flow on exit. So you need to be in an area where buy-to-let's going to work. So you need to be up north. Buy-to-let doesn't necessarily work down south. I've had a really great live, guys. Thank you so much for being incredible. Every live I do is always something new. I love that. I'm going to use a flare. My team was like, keep going live on YouTube. I was like, why? There's no point. There's no one here. So I'm going to stop my live here. I'm going to go back on Facebook. If you're new to the channel,